Odyssey now has hundreds of new exclusive music stations for you to discover your new summer soundtrack.
Get moving with worthy workouts for a cardio sesh fueled by today's top artists.
Hanging with your crew? Throw it back with Picnic Party for old school jams for your cookout.
Or sail away with Odyssey's new yacht rock station, Jugger Yacht.
For summer barbecues, road trips,
or relaxing poolside.
Hundreds of new exclusive stations, plus all your favorite local radio stations and podcasts. It's all on Odyssey.
Brought to you by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar.
CuriosityStream has thousands of documentary films and shows available on demand on any device. We're the Netflix for nerds, the Hulu for history buffs, the Disney Plus for the scientist in us. There sure are a lot of streaming services, aren't there? CuriosityStream is the one you definitely need if you're the type to nature dock and chill, if you're an armchair astronaut, if you prefer physics to psychics, or perhaps you know a precocious paleontologist. Go to curiositystream.com to learn more and sign up today.
Sports Radio 610 presents Clint Sterner and the Show. Clint Sterner's Football at 4.
4 panels, 8 laces, baby. Let's spin it around the park a little bit. The Texans, Houston Texans, they announce their coaching staff. And the highlights, there are 4 holdovers from the former regime, from the Bill O'Brien regime. You got Romeo Crennel. He is going to be a senior advisor. You got Tim Kelly as the offensive coordinator, Danny Barrett as the running backs coach. Bobby King was a big we loved watching Bobby King. Remember he was coaching them inside linebackers. He'll move from inside linebackers to the defensive line. But I think the one that sticks out here too, there's a couple of them, right? But Romeo Crennel. The Romeo Crennel, the holdovers are always interesting to me because when typically when you have a dumpster fire and you decide to change regimes from the GM all the way down, typically the first thing coaches do is get the old voices out of the building. You don't want anybody in the building talking about, well, Bill O'Brien did it this way. This is how we used to do it. You want to get all that out of the building. You want to start with a clean slate, start with a new message, build a new culture, build a new environment. And the Texans seem to be taking a little bit of a different angle here with keeping not only Romeo Crennel, who's a defensive coordinator with Bill O'Brien, but the Romeo Crennel that was a senior advisor, and then he was the interim head coach last year after Bill O'Brien was relieved of his duty. The Romeo Crennel aspect, I don't think it's a big deal, show, because a senior advisor, what is that? It's a guy that you can lean on. It's a sounding board. But it's interesting to think that Jack Easterby and Cal McNair have decided to keep Romeo Crennel around.
It's certainly not surprising.
Right, good point.
It's certainly not surprising. And John McClain, he hinted towards that when we've had him on, that Romeo could be a part of the staff. And I was one. I mean, we were saying it like, why would they want him back? Like let's just clean this all out. But it's like we said, it's not surprising. You could see that he'd be a part of the plan, that this may have been something that was thought about a while ago. He obviously has a connection with Cal McNair, Jack Easterby, and Nick Caserio because of his time with New England. So you can see this making sense. I don't agree with it. And I wonder who he's connected to. Like, is he going to be down there helping Lovey? Is he going to be down there? Because I couldn't see. I don't know if Lovey's thinking that, but I mean, I don't know. It'd just be interesting to see what his role actually will be.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. When this whole thing first went south with the Texans, you think you'd like to think anyway. The one thing the Texans can't do is go a route of anything New England, anything Patriot way, and it obviously they have done a 180 from that. I mean, when you've got Jack Easterby, Nick Caserio, Romeo Crennel, you're keeping around. Tim Kelly is a Bill O'Brien protege, so obviously he's got ties there. Interesting. The Houston Texans keep 4 members from last year's staff from the old regime. They keep those guys moving forward. It's officially announced: Romeo Crennel, Tim Kelly, Danny Barrett, and Bobby King. Obviously, Jack Easterby, I think, would be a fit person there that was part of the old regime that's been kept around, needs no introduction. Jack Easterby is calling the shots over here off of Kirby. 2 things that I'm excited about, Show, with this announcement, official announcement, I guess. Pep Hamilton. Pep Hamilton is the quarterback's coach, and more importantly, he's the passing game coordinator.
What's that mean, real quick? Like, does that mean he specifically comes up with the game plan for the passing?
Yes.
Each and every week.
Yes, I think he has ultimate say so of of the passing game top to bottom. I think you can expect to have a different passing game for the Houston Texans moving forward. This tells me that I would expect to see something totally different from what you've seen from Tim Kelly and Bill O'Brien in the past, the game plan approach from an offensive standpoint. I think you see a much more college-friendly, more of a mesh of your college game and your NFL game. I think you see a lot, like tempo I don't think will be a problem. Getting the quarterback involved in the run game I don't think will be a problem. Screen game I don't think will be a problem. You look at formations and motions and shifts and things of that nature being used to your advantage. I don't think that'll be a problem anymore. Those are all things that Pep Hamilton should, with the coordinator title, should have the ability to build that passing game top to bottom. The other thing, other than Pep Hamilton, is James Campen, the offensive line coach. Had some great years in Green Bay. Green Bay has had some great offensive lines over the years. They've had a ton of success. James Campen was a big part of that for an extended period of time. I really like James Campen. I'm really excited about the change that he can make with this offensive line immediately, because I think the offensive line gets a bad rap. Were there some guys up there that struggled? Sure, no doubt about it. Did they struggle as a unit doing what Bill O'Brien wanted to do? Absolutely, no doubt about it. I think the number one position group on this football team that improves immediately with this guy with this position coach being hired, I think it's the offensive line with James Campen.
Yeah, I knew you were excited and wondering who would be the replacement for Mike Devlin because they could pick it up. It'll be interesting to see if we see improvements with Max Sharping.
Yeah.
That's the number one guy. Feel pretty good about the tackles if they continue to be here. And Justin Britt's a veteran. But Max Sharping is the one you really look at and hope he has a real impact on him.
You need Max Sharping and Titus Howard to step up big time. If those two guys step up big time, you're in a position now to where you need to either find a right tackle if you had to move Titus Howard to guard, or you need to find a right guard if Titus Howard stayed at tackle. You've got some versatility there. You've got some guys that can move around a little bit and play different positions, but you still got one spot that you need to fill. You need Max Sharping and Titus Howard to play up to where they were drafted at the very least. They're third-year guys. They're third-year pros. They should know a lot more now than they did in the last couple of years. And I would think that, boy, this position coach, James Campen, will be a big-time improvement for them. Blue 80, easy, white 90. We talked yesterday at length about Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboy quarterback. He came to terms with the Dallas Cowboys on a monster contract. Well, today there was a press conference. Dak Prescott had a press conference after the announcement of the monster contract. Dak Prescott was spot on, boy. Show, you and I talked about it before, man. When we walked in the studio, he was up there talking, and
he looks the part.
He looks the part, brother. He is suited and booted, and his coat, his sport coat, his suit coat matches that star on the backdrop behind him. He looks the part, man. Here's Dak Prescott and his first comments about the contract extension that he reached with the Dallas Cowboys.
Eagerness, excitement, anxiousness to give this organization and the Jones family everything that they invested in, and that's a Super Bowl, and that's to go win. Pressure is privilege, and I'm privileged to have it. I'm privileged that this organization, they believe in me. They put their faith in me. But if I said, if you know me, you know who I am. I walk every day with the faith and what I believe in, and my expectations are so high. I believe my expectations for myself are higher than anybody's out there.
I tell you what, he looked the part, he sounded the part, Show. I mean, that cat right there.
But he always has.
That's what you want. I've been a big fan of Dak from the jump now. And so Dak, the expectations from me for Dak are really high. Like, I expected to hear an impressive leader of men and an impressive quarterback of an organization, face of an organization. I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't a little impressed with that comment and just the way he spoke and the way he carried himself after what he's been through with the franchise tag, with the Jones family, with the injury. I was a little more impressed than I expected I would be.
I'll be honest, you could argue the greatest trait for Dak Prescott is his intangibles.
No question.
His ability to be the adult in the room, the leader, all of that, everything he showed. There was probably a thought, do you think that changes at all with Dak now that he got taken care of? now that he got paid like this. I just can't see that not being him anymore.
If it's genuine and sincere, I don't think you have the ability to change. So you know what I mean? Like it does nothing but strengthen the hold that you have on the position and the effect that you can have on the football team. I know
you ain't never seen nobody get paid. And it changed.
But the kicker here is I've not come across. There are very few and far between Dak Prescott types of individuals in this game. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's all about. I think very highly of Dak Prescott, and I do believe him when he says that it's more important now than ever to give the Jones family a return on investment. And he even mentioned Super Bowl. I believe him. I don't believe that they will get there anytime soon, but I believe that's his intentions. Here's Dak Prescott on another part. He talked a lot today about the organization and about the contract, but he spoke about the injury and he thanked one specific individual. I thought this was pretty cool.
And I have to thank, honestly, Alex Smith, because at that moment when you're sitting there and you have an injury like that or you come out of surgery, to see somebody who's already done it and did it actually in worse circumstances, that allowed my mind just to go to straight, hey, I can do this. I'm going to beat this. It's just a matter of time, one of the doctors saying, but I'm going to beat this. So I have to thank Alex for somebody who's overcome that and won Comeback Player of the Year, and congrats to him.
I've heard him speak at length about these types of scenarios, overcoming injuries, overcoming adversity. And not to beat a dead horse, but my man's impressive in those situations as well.
No, he is. How concerned are you, though?
Major.
I'm
not concerned about him and his health. I'm concerned about.
See, I wonder if he can do the same things that he did before.
Bingo. His game is very reliant on moving the pocket, extending plays, using his legs. His game is very dependent on that, and I'm concerned about his willingness to do those things moving forward, and the offensive coordinator, the offensive minds with the Dallas Cowboys being willing to use his legs inside the scheme, inside their plan. Those are two things that I think Dak needs to. If this team is going to really have a chance to be a consistent playoff team, even with the NFC East as bad as it is right now, if they're going to be a consistent playoff team, I think they've got to use his legs. We talked at length about that yesterday. I'm overly concerned. Major concern right now for Dak Prescott and or the offensive coordinator committing to it.
As somebody who's played, I'm sure dealt with injuries and been around people deal with injuries. What do you think the mental block's going to be for him? Because that's a nasty injury that he suffered, and it was just something he does all the time. I wonder is there going to take some time for him to when people around his leg.
I think it'll take a couple of games. I think the first time he gets out there and cuts loose, I think the more times he does it, the more times it's gonna be an afterthought. He did talk today about being a little bit smarter, sliding and being a little less aggressive. But he did warn everybody, hey, if the game's on the line, if the season's on the line, I'm gonna go be Dak Prescott and go make plays. So he didn't shy away from it. I don't have any confidence in the fact that the Cowboys are going to adjust their game plan the way that they needed to before the injury. I didn't think they'd do it then. They didn't do it then, so why the hell would they do it now? Before we get out of here, though, this is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, he couldn't go. Jerry Jones couldn't go the whole press conference without having something to say. And some would say he put his foot in his mouth on this. And this is Jerry Jones talking about the contract that he just inked with Dak Prescott.
The truth is, most anything that I've ever been involved in that ended up being special, I overpaid for every time.
You sit next to the man inking a $160 million deal, and before he ever straps the cleats up, you tell him you overpaid. You feel like you overpaid for him.
Yeah. And it's not accurate either. Zeke, how's that come?
Oh, he's definitely overpaid. Zeke, there ain't no doubt. It just hadn't been good.
Tyron Smith. He's overpaid a lot of people right now. All right, coming up, Clint said something really, really interesting, and it took me a little time to think it through. He said it yesterday in the show, and it could be the saving grace for the Texans rebuild. We'll discuss that next.
Sports Radio 610 presents Clint Sterner and the Show.
David Culley tomorrow right here 1 o'clock will speak to the media. You can hear that on Sports Radio 610 on In the Loop. Clint, we had a really, really good conversation yesterday where you were talking. You said something to me. You said, if I'm the Ravens, I'm out on Lamar. I'm not. I can't give him that type of money. You said you'd be willing to start over. I thought, that's just crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that's exactly what you look for. 25-year-old who's been to the playoffs all 3 years as a starter, won the MVP. But then I went home. I said, well, come on, Clint knows. What's he trying to get to here?
I appreciate you not beating me up on and at least thinking about it.
And I just thought, like, all right, this could be the saving grace for the Texans because it's not as hard to find the productive quarterback or a productive quarterback that can give you a chance to win like it was when the Texans were previously looking for a franchise quarterback before they found Deshaun. I mean, if you start to really take a look at it, quarterbacks are now, I guess maybe by coaching, by the influence of college football, quarterbacks are now able to be effective in multiple different ways. You could be Mahomes, you could be Lamar, you could be Ryan Tannehill, you can be Baker Mayfield. You can be productive in several different ways. There's not just a box of what you're looking for. And so what may be the saving grace is maybe it won't take as long for the rebuild to find a quarterback you can win with because the evidence is showing we have more quarterbacks that are above average than we've ever had in the league.
Yeah. Well, I think the game has changed, right? I mean, where you're going with that is a perfect example of the game has changed. I mean, it's 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you had to be 6'3", and have really good feet, throw the ball in rhythm, and have a big arm and have the ability to make all the throws from the pocket. That if you weren't that, you weren't going to get a fair shake at quarterback. Now there's your rare athlete that was a freak of nature, your Randall Cunninghams, your Michael Vicks, your Doug Flutie's type of guys that get a shot every now and then for one reason or another. But generally speaking, you needed to be built like Troy Aikman, John Elway, Dan Marino. You needed to be able to do those things, or you were going to have a much steeper hill to climb to get an opportunity to be an NFL quarterback.
And that's how the offenses were geared.
Right. Well, that's where I was going with it. Was it's you can look at that from several different perspectives, but that was the offense that was in damn near every single franchise in the NFL. That's what coaches knew how to coach at the NFL level. That's the guys that were calling the shots. Now you've seen the college game. First, you saw the high school game trickle into the college game. And then now you're seeing the college game trickle into the NFL. And so you've got a wider range of body types, a wider range of skill sets, getting opportunities to play the position. So it's really a simple concept, right? I mean, you're pulling from a bigger pool of players.
Yes.
And you're fitting the system around the great player instead of trying to squeeze the player into one specific system. And so the result is you see talented guys with every different skill set imaginable having systems built around them. And so you have quarterbacks, big picture, you have a higher percentage of quarterbacks in the NFL that are having success. Because you're literally taking the best players and you're building offensive systems around them instead of taking the best players that are 6'3" and have a big arm and can deliver the ball from the pocket and hoping you draft the right one, hoping you develop the right one, hoping the system you support the right one, and hoping you can win with that guy. There's just a much wider range of quarterbacks that are accepted in the league today, and we see more having success because of it.
Could the quarterback, the way that quarterback play is being shown in the last half decade, be a saving grace for the Texans? Because that's when the rebuild, you hear the rebuild, all right, eventually who's going to be the quarterback?
Yeah.
And it seems to be easier to be able to, I mean, who has a train wreck? How many train wrecks are there at quarterback? Just absolute, you don't have a chance. And there are a lot of situations like that 10, 15 years ago. When you played, there were a lot of situations where
I played in one of them after Aikman was gone.
That wasn't the only situation in the league, like the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. No, Washington was that way.
Now, like, we look at Kirk Cousins and we're like, oh, Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, But I think you can win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he's not going to keep you from winning a Super Bowl.
No, I mean, like he walked into the Superdome in the playoffs and was a reason they beat. Like, it was a huge reason they beat Drew Brees and the Saints. And that's a guy we look down upon. And I know someone you're not a huge fan of at all, but he helped his team get to the Super Bowl in Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, he's in the Super Bowl, and they were like, that is like almost the floor. Like the Jared Goffs are like the middle part of the league is so different than it was at quarterback, right? Like the greats when you had Manning and Brady in his first career, like when you had those guys, like those guys were great. But then that next tier, there's maybe like 6 guys. Now there's like 12 guys, 13 guys. Like when you start to look in this draft lately, like outside of like Josh Rosen, I mean, who has really just crashed? Like, there's not that many guys that just don't work. So I think the Texans, whenever that comes about, they have a chance to really get that position figured out a lot faster. I don't know if it's, what is it, Tyler, 15 years it took before you guys got a franchise quarterback. I'm not sure it will take another 15 years.
Well, I think
with the way football's going right now.
Well, if it takes you 15 years now to find a quarterback that's at least serviceable and gives you a chance, if everything else is right around and gives you a chance, then you're just not doing your job. It's not the quarterback's fault; it's your job. You know, you look at at what has to happen. Right? Show is you've got to be you got to focus on building a good defense and a good offensive line, which ultimately is a good run game. You don't need great running backs; you need a good offensive line. You give me a good defense and a good offensive line. If you have that good offensive line, you're going to have a good run game. And if you've got a good run game and you can protect the quarterback, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to create a game plan, a passing game plan that gives you an advantage. It doesn't take a quarterback with the twitch of Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson or the arm talent of Aaron Rodgers or Pat Mahomes or the arm strength of Josh Allen. You don't have to have that kind of talent to win a Super Bowl, right? The key is building that defense and building that offensive line, and then you can plug and play, and you don't have to find such a difference maker at the quarterback position. Here's the issue, or what's been the deal with the Texans, right? The Texans with Deshaun Watson, with him making signing the contract, making the money he was making, and at the time with $35 million wrapped up at the receiver position, right? You have to be a team that can score 30-plus points because you can't allocate the salary cap to the defensive side of the football to have a dominant defense, right? And you can't across the board on the offensive line spend the money that you need to spend to necessarily have a dominant run game. That's one formula to try to win games when you've got Deshaun Watson. If you don't have Deshaun Watson, your formula changes, right? So now you got to spend money on defense. You got to strengthen your defense. You got to strengthen your offensive line. You got to have a great run game, and you got to support that quarterback in a much bigger way than you do. You have to support Deshaun Watson in a much different way than you would have to support Deshaun Watson. Either way it goes, your point being in today's game, it's easier to get production at the quarterback position and at least give yourself a chance to win a Super Bowl. You don't have to have John Elway. You don't have to have Dan Marino. You don't have to have Troy Aikman. You can do it a different way in today's game, and that way is easier to find in today's game than it was 10 or 15 years ago.
The next 3 quarterbacks that are going to get paid big, potentially, I don't know if any of them with their skill sets would have been able to be successful or as successful in the day you played in. Kyler Murray, his height would prevent him.
Yep.
Josh Allen, I don't think he would be used all the time. We expect him to be more accurate and make plays that way.
No question.
And Lamar Jackson. Like those 3 guys in the time you played, I don't know if they are able to be on the field and be given a chance.
There's no way Lamar when I played, Lamar Jackson would have been moved to receiver.
Yep.
I mean there's no
They tried to do it with him now.
With the pro style game the way it was years ago, you got to be able to take a 5-step and throw the speed cutout route. You got to be able to take a 7-step and throw the comeback on the sideline. You got to take a 7-step and throw the dig in the cover 2 hole. You got to be able to do those things, and he just doesn't do that consistently. He came along at the right time.
The Astros potentially will have some real decisions to make coming up with their season. We'll discuss that next.
Sports Radio 610 presents Clint Sterner and the Show.
All right, Clint, this is interesting because I think this is going to have a real effect here in Houston with the Rangers, the Texas Rangers, the baseball team in Dallas. They're officially opening up their new ballpark, which was used in the playoffs in the World Series this past year. But they're opening up their ballpark in 2021. And Clint, the stadium will be 100% capacity for the home opener. And then will be at a slightly reduced capacity with social distancing pods in April and May. More info to come. This is really, really interesting to see. Everyone's going to be looking at this. I mean, all sports are going to be looking at how successful the Rangers are with opening this up. But if they're in the state of Texas, the Astros have to be having conversations about this. Same state, they've got to be having conversations about this, and this is probably something Astros fans are going to have a decision on their mind to make if they're going to go out there and go to these games with 100% capacity. Yeah,
look, you got to think that with the Rangers doing it in Dallas, being in the same state, same league, starting at the same time, you got to believe if they're going 100% capacity for the home opener, there's got to be some kind of science behind it, right? Surely they're not just shooting from the hip and saying this is the right thing to do. Somebody's got to be the first organization, the first professional sports organization to make this decision. Surely there's some kind of science or some kind of statistic behind their decision to go 100% capacity. I don't know why they would pull back after going 100% capacity the first night.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah, I don't know the reason, the method to the madness there.
I hope it's more than just the governor has taken down the shutdown that
the mask mandate, right?
And having everything open 100% capacity. I hope it's more than that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I got to believe that there's something there. There's something there with the Rangers for them to have come to this decision, and you got to believe with the Astros being 4 hours away, you got to believe that it's highly likely that the Astros could make the same decisions. I mean, these are owners that they took a pretty good beating because of COVID-19 last year.
If you think money is not on the mind of some of these,
is.
not to say that Jim Crane doesn't give a damn about health, but if you think that Jim Crane and the other owners around the league haven't been thinking about how we bounce back from last year, and this is a big way to be able to open up your gate to as normal as possible. And according to the Rangers, opening day, they're going to sell this puppy out 100% capacity. The Astros have made a statement, though. The Astros are taking it month by month. They're giving their season ticket holders 4 options in April: stay in their seats, move to a socially distant seating location, pause their accounts, or donate their April tickets to frontline workers. That's where the Astros are handling it,
that sounds to me like there's going to be maybe in the first bowl full go.
We'll see.
And if you want social distancing, you can do it in the second level, or you can do it in certain sections. It sounds to me like they're giving season ticket holders 4 options. 1, stay in your seat, right? What are they going to do? If you're next to me and I decide to stay in my seat, they're going to tell you can't?
Yeah.
It sure seems like there's going to be certain sections where you can stay in your seat, or you can move to socially distant seating locations.
This just seems like a better plan than just open the thing up 100%.
Yeah. Like the old Free Willy approach of let's go, boys.
This is at least giving options. To me, when I see the statement, I feel like the Rangers know something's wrong with it. Hey, opening day, the first day, folks. Everybody bring your asses.
Everybody bring your friends.
Rest of the month, the rest of the next 2 months, hey, we got pods and stuff for chilling. Hold on, what?
We're going to have one big-ass party, and then we're going,
We got one big-ass party. Everybody use the bathrooms together. Let's high-five this puppy. But then, the rest of the month.
Are you going? That's the question. Are you going?
I can't. I'm not there yet.
Are you not there yet personally, or are you not there yet because of your family?
Both. And my family's
if you were solo
part.
dolo, if you were Ron the Show Hughley out there running the streets in Tennessee back in the day in college, and this happens, are you going?
College, I was dumb, but I think Teresa would have talked to me every day to convince me not to. The family part does have a big deal to it, but also, man, I would just think, God, I hope this doesn't come off bad. My concern level would be, all right, if I'm going out here, because I would go with a mask if I did go. But my concern level is, man, we may have one of the folks out here who's rolling out here, no mask, everything, ready to sit right next to each other. Their give a F may have been a little different than my give a F.
Their give a rip meters
leading
broke.
up to it. Yeah, so that would be a concern for me too, because that's what I was wondering. I was like, I wonder if Megan and Lo, would they be down? I wonder, and those are our wives. God, we're all married. Those are our wives on
man.
here. Because I'm telling you right now, Courtney's out. No chance.
I wouldn't know what Lo would answer. I don't know how Lo would answer that question. I don't think she'd want to be going there elbow to a-hole, but I think she'd be social distancing. She would be for sure. Being in a crowded area, I don't think. I'll speak for myself. It doesn't bother me. Being elbow to elbow bothers me. Like, I don't mind being in a place, when everything was 50% capacity. If I walked in a place and it wasn't 50% capacity, or if everybody wasn't wearing their mask, I didn't freak out and go home. I just that does. But when it gets to where it's a claustrophobic situation,
and you don't have no option, and there's no place where you could look to get out, and it is just a lot of people coming from a lot of different spaces. I wonder how many people. 713-572-4610. If eventually at some point the Astros, and I'm telling you, you're crazy as hell if that conversation ain't being had with the Astros. If the Astros come out and say, all right, man, we're gonna open this thing on up. We're gonna pull this thing off like the Rangers and open this thing up, and we can sell Minute Maid completely out. Are you going? I would, because I wonder how many wives out here are stopping you. Because I feel like the three of us would be stopped by our wives.
I think you'd be surprised with Lo.
She would be the iffy one. I'm pretty sure I could sit where Megan and Courtney sit. I think I got a pretty good notion. There is a absolute no-go.
Well, let me tell you, when we
now, Little Show's ready.
Little Show be knee deep in there. Ain't no doubt. There ain't no doubt. Look, I'm gonna tell you, single Clint, I'd be knee deep in it.
You'd be in there.
I wouldn't go down there and snuggle up with a bunch of different folks from different walks of life, but I would have no problem being at Minute Maid Park. I'm gonna tell you the way my favorite way to do Minute Maid Park is in that outfield at, what is that, Torchy's, Tyler? I know you got the whole damn Minute Maid Park memorized. Is it Torchy's out in left field? The one out in left field. You sure Torchy's in left field?
It's absolutely Torchy's, yeah.
No,
Torchy's is center field. You're thinking of like the St. Arnold area.
It's probably Coors Light area, but yeah, it's something like that out there in left field. I mean, it's literally like you're at a bar and it's a four-top table.
Yeah.
Now, there's people that'll walk by you, but you can't just, like, you can't wiggle your hip and touch somebody. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of space. I could do that all day, every day. I could go to a game full capacity, sit in those seats, and lose no sleep.
Yeah,
I couldn't sit. Now, them seats when I sat in, I think it was like Game 5 of the ALCS a couple of years ago, when Garrett Cole struck out like 98 batters, and that little kid behind me screamed at the top of his lung every damn pitch.
I remember you talking.
I couldn't do that. His mother had her knees in my back. I couldn't do that again. But the outfield seats. Oh man!
If you could just get.
Speaking of that, we could have a hell of a party out there.
If you give me some space, and I feel much more.
Oh, show me and you could have.
You
could have a straight get down out there at one of them tables.
And I would say this: I would feel
talk about dome foam.
Real talk. I would feel much more comfortable if I'm vaccinated, and I've gotten my first shot, and by opening day I will have my second one. But so I would feel much better with it that way.
Yeah.
But I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of non-vaccinated people who wears masks only because they're forced to.
Yeah, there's
out there ready to roll.
There's no question. There's no question. I don't know. I think Lowe would be knee deep in that thing. When we went to our honeymoon.
Maybe she would be. Maybe.
We went to Mexico on our honeymoon.
What she did with those horses?
That's what I'm saying. Like so when you go, I don't know how much everybody knows out there about travel. But when you leave the country, before your flight back, whenever it is, within a 72-hour window, you've got to have a negative COVID test. Which, by the way, I took my first COVID test. The first time I know 100% that I didn't have COVID. That is awful.
That gets up your nose, baby.
That is awful. I think I got 3 brain cells. 2 of them usually are fighting, and that third one, that damn COVID test touched.
Took you out. Huh?
It was awful. My eyes were tearing up. Anyway, up to that point, Lowe was pretty low key. She's pretty, kind of just. You could tell she had some little anxiety. She's a little concerned about getting back in the country, about work and everything. Man, once that negative test came in, she was doing a horse show on the damn beach after 18 margaritas.
She felt it.
I think you put her right here in Houston and you give her a chance to go watch them Astros.
She might, yeah. See, I would literally do a suite. I'd do a suite. You, Lowe, myself, Courtney, Megan, the dogs. I'd do a suite.
You ain't gonna let Tyler come?
Yeah. I just like how you said Megan, but you're leaving me out. Hey, have a good time, man. Have a great time, Joe. Seriously.
Look, you don't be mad at me.
No, I haven't said multiple times I would like to be a part of your first Minute Maid experience. You go on ahead.
You can't be mad at me.
Who's coming though? That's what I want to know. Who's coming? 713-572-4610. If the Astros open it up right now on opening day and Minute Maid can be full capacity, who's going? I remember going down there. It was 2 years ago for opening day, maybe 3 years ago for opening day, and Ito is absolutely jumping. You know what Ito is?
I do not.
East downtown. It is absolutely jumping on game days with the Astros. And on opening day,
to be back.
It's over. It's a street party.
No, I am excited for this. I am excited for it to get back. I just want this puppy to get back safely.
You don't want to be the first one, huh?
This feels very aggressive. This feels very aggressive. 5% of the state is vaccinated. This feels very aggressive to go, let's just open up the damn doors. Mark Cuban's got to be able to go, what the hell's going on around?
You're going to let him work the wrinkles out. You're going to let him work all the kinks out before you go, huh?
But the text line, I'm in. I'm
telling you, man, you on social media, you look at these parties people are having in these clubs and stuff. Man, hey, these folks are crazy.
Some of these people don't give a rip.
These folks are crazy.
All right, Cindy. Cindy, I'd like to hear from you. Let's jump into this. Cindy, if the Astros open it up 100% capacity, are you going in?
Heck no. No way.
Would you let your husband go, Cindy?
I'm sorry, I missed your question.
I said, would you let your husband go, Cindy?
Only if he didn't want to come back in the house.
That's my wife, Cindy.
So what I want to know about is the contact tracing from the other teams and the other states that don't have this thing. Is everybody still going to be tested in the baseball, or how is all of this opening things up going to affect all that?
Appreciate the call, Cindy. That's an interesting thing too. We never even talked about that, about the players, and now you're full go with the fans right there. And if you say full go, are they gonna? I mean, I guess they.
I would think the first 10 rows, or the first however many rows that equal the right.
Because the players can still be close,
Yeah, to a certain degree. I would think that the first, so many rows are going to be blocked off with some kind of advertisements that are probably paying more than the people that buy the tickets anyway. That's probably a new thing in baseball. Get the fans a little further away from the players, but that's definitely a major concern. Is not necessarily contact tracing, because if you don't have those bracelets on or the right device on, you can't tell the contact tracing. You don't know where you've been. You can't tell But being exposed to people that aren't being tested and having negative tests consistently, being exposed to fans, I think is definitely a problem.
If you had a player or somebody catch COVID and it potentially traced
back to a fan.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be, I would imagine that'd be a big problem.
But Rob's not thinking about that. William, let me jump to you. Go ahead, William. Would you go out to Minute Maid if they opened it up to 100% capacity?
Oh, yeah, I won't be there. But, I mean, I worked around like 5 or 6 people that had COVID, and both times I got tested, I came back negative for everything. So, but I will throw you guys a curveball. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but in the next 2 to 3 weeks, there's going to be a thing called the vaccine passport that you're going to be able to get here in Texas. Do you think that the Astros might start utilizing that when they're doing seeding? Because the vaccine passport means you've had your vaccine, both shots, it's been 2 weeks, everything's full in effect. What do y'all think about that?
We'll see. I just hope it's better planned than let's just let 100% of these jokers in here than what they're doing with the Rangers.
So that's what I was thinking when I was in Mexico getting that test to come back, and you get it in 72 hours. You have to get it within 70. You could get it. You could literally get the results 2 hours before your flight. It had to be within 72 hours, right? It just couldn't be outside a 3-day window. It had to be inside that 3-day window. Why, with if tests aren't a problem at this point in time, why would you not test the morning of you're going to the game that night? You have to have a test within 12 hours of first pitch, a negative test. You can get the test results back in an hour. They send it to you in an email on your phone. It's that simple. Now it costs us I think $90, $100 or something like that.
Yeah, that may be a problem.
But that's a price you pay if you want to go. It beats the hell out of not having the option.
Every one of them, 81 dates. You got to do that.
I mean, it beats the hell out of not having the option.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that there's a good chunk of the people buying tickets over there that ain't real worried about $86.
No, Clint, I will say I like that plan better than just let them all in.
I like my man right there that just called. If you got a vaccine passport, hell, let them all in.
Text line from our guy Will Guy show. We have been on lockdown for a damn year. Stop being scared. Don't tell me to stop being scared of what has shown to be a deadly thing.
Why do I think that's probably not a laughing matter?
But I just like stop being scared. Like talking about
like you're scared of a boogeyman,
measles or something. What? No, you tell me how to be. I'm not going to tell you to stop being scared. Good God Almighty! All right. Coming up, the Texans have announced their coaching staff. There is one announcement within it. One announcement that shouldn't be surprising, but may to a few. That's coming up next.
CuriosityStream has thousands of documentary films and shows available on demand on any device. We're the Netflix for nerds, the Hulu for history buffs, the Disney Plus for the scientist in us. There sure are a lot of streaming services, aren't there? CuriosityStream is the one you definitely need if you're the type to nature dock and chill, if you're an armchair astronaut, if you prefer physics to psychics, or perhaps you know a precocious paleontologist. Go to curiositystream.com to learn more and sign up today.
Summer-only savings await at your local Hyundai dealer. Where you go from there is up to you. Huge savings, new vehicles arriving daily, and of course, America's best warranty. Get in to get away with it all at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Secure your 2021 Sonata or Elantra today for 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days. See your Hyundai dealer now during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Offers end September 6, 2021. Call 562-314-4603 for offer terms and details.